Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday, welcome in if you're new here, welcome back if you're a regular. I hope you're excited for a brand new speed build today. We are working on a brand new home in Brindleton Bay, and this comes with the cats and dogs expansion pack. We are not going lightly on the packs used. I'm just using whatever and anything I just want to build, and this is again for my save file. So it is a family home. I really love how this house turned out. I was a little bit unsure if I was going to post this though, to be honest. I wasn't sure whether it was YouTube worthy, but I did decide that I would spice it up a little bit and change it around, and I actually really like how it turned out, so do let me know what you think of it. But this particular home is for a family of 7, 8 if you include the cat, but sim-wise, 7 sims, 1 cat. We do have a single mother living here. A little bit of the backstory. We do have a teenager. We've got an adult son, or young adult, who's still living at home intermittently. He does have a dorm. He is away at university, but he does still have a house here, of course, so he is kind of living at home, kind of living away, so he's not here all the time, so he does have a room here, if I've said that 7 times already. So we have an older son who doesn't always live here, 8 times. We have a teenage girl, we have twin children, girls, and we have twin infants, yes. So it's very busy, there's a lot of girls. There's only 1 boy, so we have 5 daughters and 1 son, and we have 2 sets of twins, which is crazy. So the mum is a single parent. The dad is still in their lives, but he does work away a lot, so they don't see him very much. I think the parents are still on okay terms, but they just didn't really work out because the dad does prioritise his job, so the mum was a bit like, it's not really working out for me anymore. So they did split up. The mum is not very career orientated. She is much more of a family lady, whereas the dad is the complete opposite, and he focuses all of his time on his career. So it's a little bit of a battle between the 2 parents to co-parent, but they make it work as best they can, but it's just a little bit difficult. Now lately I've been really enjoying doing this like patterned thing on the front of the houses. I don't know why, I just really like it, so maybe you guys like it too, let me know. I just think it's really nice, so I did include it for today's as well. It gives me like old farmhouse kind of vibe, but I don't know, I just kind of modernized it. I think it's really pretty, so let me know what you think. It's kind of a very old-fashioned style, but I think it looks really nice, so I did go for it for this particular house. I honestly don't remember what size lot this is. I think it's a 30 by 40 or 40 by 30, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it is in Brindleton Bay, and it's usually where the vets is, so yeah. I really like this lot. I think that the lighting's really nice here. I think it's a really nice size. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's just like a perfect little cozy house space, in my opinion. It's enough to have a big house without it being overwhelming, and also having a really nice sized garden. So that is what we're doing for today. So a little bit of the backstory. The mum, like I said, is more of a homebody. I feel like she has like a lot of skills that she works on in her own time, but she doesn't necessarily put them towards work. I think that she does try and make her hobbies her career, a little bit what I'm like, to be honest, but she doesn't really like going to like a mainstream normal job, because she does want to stay home with her kiddos. So she does stay home a lot of the time, but she does have her little side hustles that bring in the income to live here, and of course the husband does chip in a lot to help afford this house, of course, because it isn't exactly the cheapest thing in the world. And yeah, so I think the dad is like a businessman. I think he works in the city. I think that he does have his own business, and he's like the CEO of other businesses. I just think he's very career focused, and the mum just wasn't really loving that lifestyle, so she did decide to move to Brindleton Bay, where it was a lot more calmer. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the countryside, but it's definitely more country than what they were living in before. I don't feel like she really liked living in the city because it was a little bit too much hustle and bustle for her liking. I know personally I definitely couldn't live in the city. I think it's fun to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. I think it's a bit too overwhelming for my personality. Just too much noise and people is just not really the vibe for me, but some people love it and that's totally fine as well, just different personalities. So personally I would much prefer to live here than live in the city, so I don't blame the mum for moving. So we're now just working on the landscaping. I think this house turned out really nice actually. I'm trying to work on my landscaping a little bit more because I haven't built houses in quite some time. Like I said to you guys, I was having some PC troubles with the fan just going crazy, but we did work it out in the end. No idea how, but it doesn't do it anymore, so I'm happy about that. Sorry, I had to pause it then. I sneezed. I swear my allergies are just like killing me off whenever I try and do a voiceover. It's like, haha, you've been fine all morning, but not anymore. So if it does cut out at any point, that's why, because I have to keep cutting out the sneezes. The joys of allergies, although it has got a bit better, so I can't really complain. But anywho, now moving on into the back garden. I adore this house, honestly. I'm so glad that I decided to keep it. You know, sometimes when you're building and you're like, is it worth bulldozing? Is it worth recording? If you do content, then you know. So I was going to just scrap this house, but I'm really glad that I kept it because I actually really like it. So I really like the landscape, and I just think there's a really nice size plot in general. I think this is 40 by 30, and it's just a really nice size. I think it's got enough space, like I said, that you can have like a reasonable sized home while having like quite a nice sized garden as well. So it just kind of fits my perfect vibe personally. I feel like 30 by 20 is a little bit small for me. I know that's like the regular sized plot, I suppose, for houses, but I think it's a little bit small for me because I like having quite big gardens, and I like expanding on my landscaping techniques because I'm not the best landscaper in the world, don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know, nothing special, but I do my best, and I think that I've got potential to get better with it. So I really want to just, you know, keep going with it and just keep experimenting. And yeah, so I did decide to include a little playground. Originally this was going to be for my legacy family, but I did change houses and they do actually live in a massive house now. But to be honest, it's a bit overwhelming, so maybe I will end up moving them to somewhere like this, which is a little bit more manageable, because I feel like sometimes when you live in these massive houses it's just a bit much, personally anyway. I find them fun to build in, but when you actually play them they're a bit overwhelming. But this one in particular, like I said, I feel like 40 by 30 is like the perfect size combination in my non-expert opinion. But yeah, so we're now just working on the landscaping yet again. I did include a little park because I was kind of imagining that the mum had possibly promised the kids that if they moved here that they could have like a park in the garden, because when I was 3 years old / 4 years old, we moved to a new house, which is still the house my parents live in now, and I really didn't want to move because I absolutely loved the little house we lived in. We lived in a pink cottage, like how fairy tale-esque. We lived in a pink cottage in the countryside and it was just gorgeous, but it was too small to fit all of my things in as I was growing older, so we did end up moving to a bigger house. But my mum did promise me basically a park when we moved, so she did end up getting me basically a park. And I say she, both my parents did, but she was the one trying to convince me that it was alright to move. And I did end up having a swing set, a slide. I had a slide in my old house anyway, but a slide, a seesaw, even though I was the only child, so she would try and play on it with me, but just never really played with the seesaw because I was on my own, but I used to pretend that my teddies were playing on it. And yeah, what else? A trampoline, but that was when I was a bit older, obviously not when I was 4 necessarily, I was a bit young, but so I was kind of imagining that when I was creating this. I've just realised that I'm now putting the clips in the wrong order, but it's fine, it doesn't matter, it's only a little bit of roofing. But yeah, so I did kind of imagine that maybe she had promised them basically a park if they moved because they didn't want to leave the city, but you know, she was not having it anymore. So anywho, moving on, we're now working on the floor plan. I did change it around quite a little bit because I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I really like how it turned out. I think it's a really nice layout. We do end up having 5 bedrooms, I think, and gosh, how many bathrooms? 4 or 5 bedroom bathrooms even. I can't remember specifically. I think it's 4. Anyway, so I do end up including another bedroom, which I'm not sure whether I filmed. I wanted to have enough bedrooms for my legacy sims to live here, but then I did decide that wasn't going to happen, and I was just going to make, you know, a house for a completely different family. But when I first started this, I was trying to fit in as many bedrooms as possible because we have a lot of kiddos, and my legacy sims have 5 children, so I wanted them to all have their own room and the little ones could share perhaps. So I did end up including 5 bedrooms, 6, 5 bedrooms. Currently there's 4, but I do end up including another one, which I don't think I filmed. I might have, I don't remember. I filmed the start of this video like a week or two ago, and then I finished the video today. So the start of this video I did 2 weeks ago, so I can't actually remember specifically what order I did stuff in, but it's fine. But like I said, they do have an older son who doesn't technically live at home anymore. He does, kind of, but he's also away at university. I felt like he studied music. I felt like he was quite a musical kid. And then the daughter is a little bit different. She is very much quite quirky. I don't feel like she's like a regular teenager. I feel like she's got like her own little personality going on, which I really like. I did give her like a greeny black coloured room, which is a little bit different than my usual. Usually I just go for like, you know, the purples or pinks, but I did still decorate the little kids room in those colours, but I wanted her to have a different sort of vibe. So she is quite girly, but she's also got like an edgy side to her, which I really like, and I think she's just experimenting and, you know, who she's going to be as a grown-up, and I just really like how it turned out, to be honest. I think this entire house is just really pretty. It isn't on the gallery yet, but it will be hopefully uploaded today if I can remember to do so, but if I do forget, remind me. Next week's schedule will be a little bit different because I am away for 2 days. I'm not too sure how I'm going to fit everything in, to be honest, but hopefully I will get a video to you on Thursday. So Monday and Thursday there will be videos, but Tuesday and Wednesday there might not be because I am away in the city again, going to see another concert. We've got like 3 concerts planned very close together, so I've got 2 concerts this week, which is insane. So I'm very, very excited about those. However, if my allergies persist, it'll be very, very annoying having to like try not to sneeze during the shows. And they're quite like intimate shows, you know, they're not like massive audiences, they're like quite quaint and just, you know, a nice sized group of people, not like a stadium. So let's hope it's not embarrassing, because that won't be fun. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've got one on Tuesday and one on Sunday, so that's exciting. They're both country artists, because you guys know I love my country. I will share some photos / videos on my story probably over on Instagram, but I'll post them after I've been there, because, you know, you can never trust the internet. But yeah, so now we're just finishing up in the kitchen. I do end up filming an extra clip, which I did today. So this specific clip you're watching is from last week or the week before, whenever I filmed, and then this one is today because I realised I don't think we had the kitchen clutter kit, and if we did, I didn't include it. So I did go ahead and include it in this particular video because I really love the kitchen clutter and I just think it's really cute. So I did go ahead and add a little bit of a clip to add some detail because I realised I hadn't included it, and I just can't have a house without that kitchen clutter. So there we are, that's basically it. And then we do move on to the dining room. I really like how this entire house looks, to be honest. There's not really one room that I don't like. We do have quite a big space in the entryway, which I'm not in love with, but it's not bad. It's just, I don't know, it's just a bit empty. So that was kind of a bit of a struggle, but it's fine. We worked around it. So this current clip, again, I filmed 2 weeks ago, so I can't remember the methods of my madness specifically, but all my dining rooms kind of look the same. So I always sort of know what I'm thinking. I always love using this table. I think these chairs look really nice as well. They definitely give me like classic suburban Sim style. If this was in a blue room, it would definitely give off 100% classic Sims. I just love building, honestly. Sometimes when, like this weekend, I'm going back home to my parents tonight, and I can't build when I'm there because my gaming PC's with my fiance's stuff, so I can't do my builds or anything, which is good because if I was doing it all the time I would just live on the computer, but I realise how much I love building when I'm away from it. I do try and separate my hobbies because I also really like crochet, so I've got crochet at my parents' house and then I do have Sims with my fiance, so it's like separating them up. But I haven't really done crochet lately because my last project really got on my nerves and I just ripped it up because I was in a mood. Some days just be like that, you know. It's just when you're trying to create a pattern and it doesn't go the way you want it to and you're already having like a rough day, I was like, nah, I'm done. So I haven't actually crocheted since then because I thought I should really have a break from it and just, you know, gather my thoughts again and start afresh, perhaps with something that I can copy instead of making my own up to get back into it, because creating your own pattern when you're quite new to crochet is really difficult. I have made quite a lot of my own patterns. I've actually made entire teddy bears which are my own patterns, which is really cool and something that I'm really proud that I can do. However, it's not easy, and some days it's just not worth trying because it is quite hard to do. I'm not saying I'm some genius or anything, but creating your own patterns isn't easy, so anyone who knows how to do that, props to you. Sorry, I had to cut the clip then. I've got this weird thing which comes and goes. I've got like hypermobility as a person, off topic, but sometimes my ribs move when I breathe. It's called costochondritis, where like the cartilage in your ribs move, and it really hurts right where your heart is, so sometimes it makes me panic, so I just had to stop then. Haven't had it in a while. I think I'm just talking too fast. Anyway, totally fine, carrying on. We're now working on the living space, a lounge, whatever you want to call it. I love this room. If you guys know me, you know I love my beige, I love my greens, so beige and green together is like perfect. Yeah, so that is the lounge, and then we move on to the bathroom. We only have one downstairs bathroom. We do also have it as a laundry room, you know, multifunctional, why the heck not. And that's pretty much it. I don't really like doing bathrooms. Bathrooms are like, they're fine, but bathrooms and dining rooms, not really interested in. I'll do them, but you know, I don't love building them. They're just kind of a room filler. They're just like get them out of the way with to focus on the kitchen and the living room and like the lounges and whatever. So this is the room that I was a bit like, I don't love it. It's a bit empty. I wouldn't say I dislike it, but I was really unsure what I wanted to put in this space. I was originally going to turn this into the living room, the lounge, whatever you want to call it, the living space. But I did decide that I was going to have the lounge in a separate room entirely. So that is why it is in another room. And this room I was like, you know, we could put a sofa there, we could put like a skills items. We did include a piano, which I thought kind of broke up the space quite nicely, but ideally I would have put something a little bit more functional in this room. So if you guys do download this, then feel free to redecorate this room in particular, because it's a bit like, don't really know what to do with it, but I still think it's cute, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Now moving on to the upstairs. So this is the teenagers' room. This is the daughter's room. Like I said, it's like a greeny kind of dark sort of theme. I don't really think that she's like, not gothic. I don't really know what aesthetic she is. She's just trying to figure out her own style. She just likes green, so we did include green. I just really like this room. I think it's a little bit different than what I usually do, so it's a really nice change just to kind of switch up a little bit. And I did include this cute little chair and mirror from high school years, which I love. High school years is probably one of my favourites for build items. Not necessarily gameplay. I don't love it for gameplay. However, I do still like the fact that we do have the option to travel to the high school with our Sims, and then they learn different skills that they wouldn't normally learn as like a younger Sim, so I really like that element of it. I would definitely recommend it if someone doesn't already own it, because I use it in every single build, especially for building. Go figure. But I think it's a really good pack, so highly recommend. So now we're just including some clutter. I did want to make it feel quite teen vibes, so I did include some stuff on the bed as well. You know, she's doing her homework, she's got her headphones, she's got her own little desk area. I really like this room in general. I just think the aesthetic's really nice. And I did also include some like high school years pom-poms and some like club, I honestly don't know what club that is, romance something, is it? I don't know, I could be wrong, honestly I have no idea on the certain clubs they can be in. I think that came with get together. I've never actually done the club thing, so if anyone knows, let someone know in the comments what that means, or let me know what it means, because I have no idea. But now we're working on the son's room. So this is the room the elder son lives in when he does come back from university. So he is studying music in Britechester, or Foxbury, I'm not too sure, maybe Britechester. I feel like that's more like the distinguished degrees for the arts. So that is where he's studying. He does have some roommates, and he does live in, what's the world called? Honestly can't remember, whatever the world is for university. So he does still have his room at home, of course, but he does stay away at university to study. And then we move on to the bathrooms. I did film all of the bathrooms all together because I just did. There's no really real reason. I just decided that I would film them all together. I do end up making this particular bathroom a little bit bigger because I did want to include a shower in here as well, and it didn't really fit. Although the next bathroom that I did was only a 2x2, and I did somehow manage to fit it in. Whether it's functional is questionable, so I need to play test it really, but I'll probably forget and upload it. So do let me know if the 2x2 bathroom is functional, that I do make in a moment, because I honestly don't know. Usually I will include a smaller sink for the 2x2. That's how you make it functional, but for this particular one I wanted them all to match, so I don't actually know whether it works, but we'll hope. We can hope. I don't know whether that gap is big enough, but I really don't know. I hope it is. But anyway, moving on, we're now working on the twins room. So this is the children's room. I really like this room. I think this room in particular is really cute. I like the colour scheme. Of course it's pink, why wouldn't it be? But I didn't actually use pastel pop for this, so that's a rarity. We are just using a base game wallpaper. I'm using a lot of High School Years, the Cozy Gamer kit, a little bit of Werewolves. This particular wall decal of the owl is Werewolves. Again, the curtains are High School Years. The beds, I believe, are Dream Home Decorator. The nightstand and the lamp are also High School Years. Yeah, it's basically a lot of High School Years. But I really like it. I think it turned out really cute, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you like this room. And this mirror I think is from Werewolves as well, although it could definitely be in Crystal Creations, but I do think it's Werewolves. I just love this room in general. I think it's a really nice combo of the space. I just think there's good use of the space. I really like the items I included, and they're just a very girly little duo. I think they're into dance. They're quite just classic girly girls in my opinion. Maybe they're like ballet or something. And then we do have the little ones as well. So these two were born just at the time their parents were getting divorced, so they don't live with their dad, of course, but they do stay with him sometimes. I do apologise, I'm getting more nasally by the second. I'm going to have to end the voiceover soon. I swear as soon as I start talking, my allergies are just like, haha, stuff you. So yeah, but anyway, it's fine. We'll just carry on. So these little ones weren't really in the picture when the parents were together. They were born just at the same time they were getting divorced, so they hadn't really lived with both parents before, but obviously they don't know any different because they are only babies. I was kind of imagining that maybe they're like 6 months old, so it did take the mum a little bit of time to move to this brand new house. I do feel like the dad does help with the mum, of course, because she doesn't really work. She does have her like side hustles, and I think she likes gardening, and she's a little bit of just a homebody in general. I think she is like a stay-at-home mum, so that's totally fine. That's a job in itself. Imagine having, how many children does she have? 6? Imagine having 6 kids. Of course you'd have to stay at home, especially if you're fortunate enough to be able to, then definitely she would like to. So he does also, of course, help out with the money to live here because it is a very big house and he wants his kids to live in the countryside. I don't feel like he wants them to live in the city. Is a little bit much, so I did decide, or they decided, not me, they decided that it was best for the kids to move to a more quaint area, a calmer area, less crime than the city, and raising 6 children is a little bit overwhelming. Of course their son is an adult, so it's technically 5, but he's basically their big baby. So now moving on to the garage. I did want to have this space because I really love the restoration kit. I think it's really cool. I wasn't expecting to like it so much, but I really like that we've got, garage items. I just think it's really nice. It's a nice touch to the game. I haven't actually used them much yet. I haven't really played the game that much lately. I've been working on builds an awful lot, so I don't know what works and what doesn't, but I do think you can make some furniture out of the table on the left hand side of the room, so that's cool. And then move on to the final bit of the build, which is the back garden. I love the back garden. I think this entire back garden is just gorgeous. I don't usually ever do massive back gardens because it's not something that I'm amazing at as a builder. I think I'm better at the exterior of the house. I think I'm a good interior designer, but it's not something that I love. I like it, but I don't love it. So I love doing the exterior of the builds, and when it comes to the gardens, it's just not something that I've done as often, of course, as the interior or the exterior, so I'm still working on my skills, but I think it turned out really nice. I did decide to include a cute little barbecue area with like a little bit of a cover, although let's be real, if it rains there's no stopping that water. But I think it's just really nice, and I did include a pool as well. I know we live in Brindleton Bay and it's not exactly the sunniest of locations, but I just really liked it, and I think that colour of the tiles outside in particular just look really nice with this build. So I don't know, I just wanted a pool, so I included a pool. There's not really any logic, just don't want it to. And it's just really nice. I just love this build. I did include some planter boxes as well, and I did add a little shed which does have some like wall plants in it, you know, the ones that came with Eco Lifestyle. You can grow stuff on those. I think you can actually turn it into a meat wall as well, which is kind of disgusting. I don't know what skill level you have to be, but yeah, you can make a meat wall, which is just vile in my opinion. But it's kind of funny. So yeah, that's basically it. I am going to end the voiceover by here because my nose is beginning to pour and it's driving me crazy, so I'm going to have to take some more medicine and hope that it calms down, because my god, I cannot stand these allergies, and it's literally not even that sunny today. It's quite dull, so loving life. I don't even know, there must be some new magical plant that's just evil for allergies for me anyway. Whenever I say the M's or N's, I just sound so nasally. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'll be back on Monday, all being well, but Tuesday, Wednesday there probably won't be a video, so I do apologise, but we'll come back fighting, we'll come back strong with some new videos next week. So like always, have a wonderful weekend, have a wonderful day. I appreciate you guys. Like always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, share it with a friend, turn on the notification bell. It really, really helps my channel out. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next week for a brand new speed build. Thanks for watching. Bye lovelies.